Yun. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi. Welcome ulit sa DAXdakan, episode 2. Ah, medyo nagkaano tayo? Medyo hinanap ko pa ulit kung paano magpatakbo ng OBS at Facebook. Sorry, nadali tayo ng 1 minute. So again, thank you for joining. Medyo ano tayo, shift tayo ng episode. If last week, more of open discussion tayo regarding best practices. Ngayon, medyo may ganun pa rin naman, pero we have a special guest. Mark De Jesus from PAL Express will be presenting something later. So, medyo ibang flavor yung DAXdakan natin this week. Pero as I've said, we are very, very encouraging. If you have any questions, for you to unmute yourself. We are live via Teams, or we are live via Facebook Live, but we are on Teams right now. And after this, probably tomorrow, probably a few days after, we will be publishing everything to YouTube and to Spotify. Nasa Apple Music na rin yata tayo. I'll need to check. Pero nasa Google Podcast rin tayo, which unfortunately will be going away by next year. So, yun yung pasok natin eh. Pero yun nga, ang ginawa kasi ng Google naman is lahat ng nasa, pag nagpa-publish ka, or sorry, pag nag-upload ka sa YouTube, matic available na rin yung, ano mo, yung option to publish it as a podcast apart from a video. Kasi yun nga, sa Spotify naman, may video podcast na rin eh, which is blurring the line between the two platforms. So, we have, how many? We have 11, 12 people on the Teams. Again, I pasted the chat. I pasted the Teams link dun sa ating Facebook Live. So, if you want to visit Teams, go ahead. Sa Facebook Live, dun yung makikita yung yung mas YouTube-style content. Kasi nga, yung OBS output nandoon. Yung nasa Teams natin, mas cozy, mas unmutable ka, mas less presentable, pero yun nga, you can be a part of the conversation, ika nga. So yeah, start tayo. Similar to last week, I want to actually start off with the slides. Kasi may nagbago. May mga updates tayong konti. And just in case this is your first time, again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. DAXdakan episode 2. Welcome. I am Anthony Kwa. You may call me Tony. And again, what is DAXdakan? So, to our foreign friends out there, dakdak is a Filipino verb. Actually, it means a lot of things, but we are specifically honing in the meaning, which means to talk nonstop. Language is Filipino English for this podcast. Therefore, yeah, there might be some challenges, but you know, we talk still in English like 50% of the time, so shouldn't be a biggie. And this is a meeting with other BI Pilipinas members every 2 weeks. PBI updates, best practices, features, industry applications, AMAs, whatever. And we are, as I've said, on Teams, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. So about us, what is Power BI Pilipinas? So proud ako sa pag-edit dito. We are now an online community of 10,000 Power BI enthusiasts in the Philippines. We are on Facebook. We have a Microsoft Fabric community, which I will be highlighting later. We have a LinkedIn group. We have a Discord channel. We have a YouTube channel. We have a TikTok channel. And we have a Spotify podcast ongoing. So yeah, medyo kalat tayo all over the web. Not everything gets updated, so sorry about that. And of course, mission vision. Our mission is, again, to develop qualified Power BI developers in the Philippines by building a conducive learning environment via accessible development opportunities and various support groups. Now, the vision is to be the best Power BI community in the Philippines, providing the friendliest network of members and the most talented pool of applicants for recruiters and clients. So in short, the mission really is upskilling people, giving them the tools that they need to be able to meet the skill sets required for recruitment. And vision is to make sure that they land the right opportunities, the right jobs, and be recognized for the talent that they're bringing into the organization. So, BI Pilipinas updates. And the reason why we're actually running through the slides right now. So, number 1, 10,000 Facebook members. That happened last week. Woot! congrats to us. Thank you very much to everyone na nag-join. I should have launched the Teams tawag dito, Teams app pala on my other side para nakikita ko yung mga reactions. Microsoft Fabric community though is pretty weak. If nakita nyo yung post ko last, I don't know, middle of the week yata, yun nga, as I've said, medyo hindi ganun ka-beefed up. We have 10,000 for the Facebook group. We only have, as of now, 225, which is pretty good actually. Higher than what I expected. Pero bakit nga ba? Bakit ko kayo pinapasali sa Fabric user groups? Kasi ito yung group na may visibility, may direct visibility si Microsoft. So at some point, I want to set up, say, meetups. I want to set up promotions or what you call that, competitions na may prizes, ganyan. Mas madaling makahingi ng support kay Microsoft is if we are actually part of their own, syempre, their own tenant, their own umbrella, which is yung mga community groups nila. So, pag nasa mga user groups kayo and you select Power BI and you go to see all, we have made progress in fairness to us. Kasi I started this like 3 days ago. Nasa 174 members tayo. Yun nga, 10,000 tayo sa FB. So, dapat, kumbaga, I knew that we could push for more. Just for your information, reload ko lang. Medyo weird yung nito, yung pag-sort nito eh. Ayan. So, for your information, India is number 1 as far as Power BI user groups are concerned. So, India PBI user group. Pero, 507 lang yan. Total. So, kayang-kaya. If only mas maaga kong pinush to. Pero yun nga, here we are. Let's play catch-up. Okay lang yan. So, 500, lang yan? 507. We are here at number 10. At spot number 10 with 225. And notice, ang spot number 9, 226 lang. Si London. And to think na, 3 days ago, nandito tayo eh. Nasa likod tayo ng Chicago user group. Kasi nandito tayo. So, spot number 15. 15th place tayo. We're now up to 10. We can go 9th by end of the day. And yun nga, push lang tayo. And this is something, yung Fabric community is something that I will be championing every time a new member joins na rin. Para kumbaga medyo meron na tayong pakonti-konti na dadagdag. The ultimate goal is talunin ng India. Pero yun nga, sila yung number 1 as of now eh. As far as sheer count. And partida yan, I think, kasi ito yung India. Mapapansin nyo, may Bangalore, tapos meron pang South India. So kalat na yan, partida sila. Pag nag-join forces sila, easy 1,000. Assuming iba-iba, pero malay natin, same members rin. Pero yun, that's the reason why we are working with people who will try to reach out to Microsoft Philippines, mga ganyan, in order to get us a conference room, get an actual meetup in the works that is actually sponsored by Microsoft. May time pa naman before the end of the year, so we're in support of that. We're trying to beef up our Fabric community tawag dito, footprint. So, going back to the slides. And so that's the updates as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I remember. And then as with regards to the last week, yung mga nakalagay dyan, sila pa rin. Si Microsoft 365 E5 tenant, or kumbaga yung nasa ilalim ng dotted line na to is really more of my help needed. Kumbaga, kaya puro question marks. So again, as mentioned last week, we have the Microsoft 365 E5 tenant. Feel free to chat or message me directly or post in the Facebook group. Why not post? I actually recommend you to post. Tell us ano yung sa tingin nyo pwedeng gamitin or pwedeng magawa sa E5 tenant. So may E5 tenant tayo. Sa ngayon, ginagamit ko siya as this. Ginagamit ko bilang calendar ng DAXdakan natin. Ginagamit ko siya minsan as file. Hindi ko siya magamit as file server. May mga OneDrive naman siya, SharePoint. So, yeah, nagagamit naman for that. Pero wala pa siyang actual impact sa group. Meron siyang workspace. May Power BI workspace siya if you're curious about that. And it has a 10 gigabyte limit for everyone. So, medyo share lahat sa 10 gigabytes. And tinatry ko siyang paandarin sa mga open to work, sa mga open for commissions. Pero as far as tawag dito, usage is concerned, hindi pa ganun ka lakas. And I kind of see the reason why, kasi bakit ako maglalagay sa PBI Pinas Workspace if I have my portfolio naman sa Novi Pro or sa Maven Analytics. So there are a lot of options na unlike dati. So yun, I'm at a point pa na may E5 tenant na tayo. Yehey, I can use it for this, for our DAXdakan or future webinars, kanyan. Pero I don't really know what else to do with it. So feel free to hit me up kung may naisip kayong silbi, what else we can do with it. Tapos PBI Pinas Challenge, yun nga, maybe I'll be looking for sponsors. As of now, wala pa akong actual details to build it up. Pero yun, in the future, that's a data challenge using Power BI specific to Pinoys only. So think Maven Analytics, Data Challenge, Onyx Data, Enterprise DNA, mga ganon. Pero mas maliit yung scope. So higher chances of winning, di ba? Especially if you're one of the really talented ones, skilled ones. And then lastly, Power BI Pinas Meetup. We're still open to ideas. We are still open to thoughts on how to, where to do that. Pero, ayun. As of now, ang medyo tutok niyan is hopefully Microsoft PH dun sa One Ayala, Makati. If makakuha ng approval. So, thank you for hanging on through all that rambling. Doon tayo sa proper reason for having this DAXdakan episode 2. Power Platform in Aviation is something that Mark Leghrand De Jesus will be presenting. Mark is a licensed electronics engineer and pilot with an extensive experience in teaching. He is currently a system specialist for PAL Express. Yes, that PAL, Philippine Airlines, who develops applications and dashboards, enabling company processes to be as efficient as they can be. He specializes in using Power Apps, Microsoft Power Automate, and Power BI. And if that's not enough, he is also a project management officer and a consultant flight instructor. So, haba. That's it. Mark, are you there?
Hi, sir. Good morning. Thank you for the generous introduction.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, hi. May I confirm, sir, if you can hear me clearly and you can see me on screen?
I cannot see your screen, but your audio is clear.
Okay, so wait for a moment. Okay, how about now, sir? I think I could
Pero
apply
I did stop my share para wala ka nang kailangang invade.
There.
Wala
Am I
pa rin
visible
sa...
now, sir? Okay, let me configure, sir, for a while.
Sure. No
Yes.
problem. Pero it does say... Ay, hindi, wala. External lang pala. Parang it's trying to show your webcam yata. Pero it's just a black screen sa ngayon. Pero,
Okay, it's I think visible na as per Aubrey Francisco.
meron na.
Yeah. Can you confirm?
Perfect.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you again, Sir Anthony, for the warm introduction. No? So I appreciate having this platform. Because personally speaking, based from experience, I see so much potential in here, and what you're doing here is really a good platform for us to upskill co-developers and talents here in the Philippines. Okay, so we'll be sharing my screen right now. I hope you can confirm if visible siya. So as said by Sir Anthony Ko a while ago, we will be having a discussion about how are we using the Microsoft Power Platform in the industry practice of aviation. So technically speaking, this won't just be confined in the utilization of Power BI. At the same time, we will be covering the Microsoft Power Platform as a whole. So you'll have a holistic idea on how things can be utilized in the aviation industry and henceforth probably in your own industry as well as you go along with your careers. Okay, so Microsoft Power Platform in aviation setting. Let me start. Okay, so uh, Probably now I will start first by introducing just to lighten things up. How did we start here? How did I start in utilizing these tools? So in Philippine Airlines, I just worked for nearly 2 years. So I utilize this platform through the demands of the company. So I utilize tools like YouTube, YouTube University. So I was resourceful in learning from LinkedIn, from asking people around how are things to be utilized, so I can meet the demands of the company. Okay, so I'm just sharing this one para you might think I'm an expert here, but I'm not. So I just want you to know na if I'm able to develop some tools that I will be showing later on, you can do it as well. You just have to give time. Okay? And so we have the LinkedIn Learning, we have the YouTube, and primarily I learned a lot from joining forums like Power BI Pilipinas. I used to ask people around. Okay, next.
Salamat, salamat. Shout
Yeah.
out.
Yes, sir. Actually. Um, I was a self-learned developer, sir. So I just want to highlight that, no, kasi most of, if not all, most probably some people would get intimidated with so much learnings that can be learned out there. So you just take it one day at a time, and you just have to manage the right resources that you have. And primarily, I think you need to ask more questions because you can learn from other people as well. Okay, so that's just the point of this slide. Be resourceful. Okay, so for today, our main objective is to impart industry applications, primarily the aviation industry, of the Microsoft, impart industry applications of the Microsoft Power Platform. So with the goal again of you having some insights or takeaways on which are the things that can be utilized on your end. If you are an aspiring developer, a data analyst, I'm sure that you will get something from this one. Okay, so number two, we encourage people to be citizen developers. So, um, based from experience, one of the key takeaways that I learned moving forward is I think everybody can code. Anybody can develop as long as you have logic and you have the drive to learn. Okay, so this is one of our objectives for the day. We want to highlight people to learn as much as they could and with the resources that are available out there. Okay. For the scope, we will be focusing on a specific module among the several deployed tools in our company. So later on, we will be coursing through with the projects that we have that we deployed in the nearly 2 years of practice. But we will be focusing just on one project since we are time constrained. Okay, so moving forward. So the Power Platform. So I'm not sure if everybody are amateurs here like me and or most probably some are already professionals. But for the sake of those people who are just starting, okay. So let me just provide a very quick introduction about the Microsoft Power Platform. So Microsoft Power Platform basically it's a pool of systems. It's a low-code platform that spans Office 365, Azure Dynamics 365, and standalone applications. So basically, it's an umbrella of applications where each application has a specific purpose depending on the company demands and the output that you want to have. Okay, first on the list, we have the Power BI. So later on, we will be coursing through each application and how we are using this platform to come up with the demands of the company. Okay, so we have the Power BI, Power Business Intelligence for business analytics. We have the Power Apps for applications development. Basically, we're also creating tools wherein mobile applications that are also compatible with the desktop. Okay, we have the Power Automate for process automation. Basically, this happens. These are the things that are not visible on the user's end. So these are back-end processes that we are, as developers, we develop. We can Okay, and the for Power Virtual Agent, this is the next step. wherein we can create chatbots basically. Chatbots that would automate for example, pwedeng if there are inquiries from teams that we can actually automatically extract from the database, we are actually cutting time for people to have the information that they need. Okay, so these are the main tools in the Microsoft Power Platform, but we have some others, and I believe there would be some others that will be soon to be developed. We have the Power Pages for web development and many others. Okay, so underneath, we can see here the data connectors, the AI builder, and the common data services. So these are basically services that are attached with the tools available here in the Microsoft Power Platform. So we are actually using these tools in conjunction with those four on top. Okay, so take note the Power Apps for application development, Power Automate for process automation, which is in the back end, and Business Power BI for business analytics. So the post-processing of data, it happens in business analytics. If you want to extract information that are paramount to decision making for the company in a corporate level, this is where it happens. Okay, and as developers and data analysts, it's our duty to learn how to utilize this tool. So it's very powerful, hence the name Microsoft Power Platform. And true to its name, you can actually do a lot with these tools that we can actually learn. Okay, so if you have questions pala, no, I just want to take this opportunity to just raise your hands so maybe we can answer some questions along the way. Okay, so moving forward. Okay, there's a saying na I usually come across with when I'm coding, when I'm developing. So it says here, if you can think about it, there's probably a way to do it. So speaking from experience, this is actually true. The only thing that would hinder us from doing, or the question that would actually pop out is, how are we going to do it? Okay, so based from this principle, we can actually come up with a lot of outputs based on our imagination. So that's how powerful Microsoft Power Platform is. Although there are times na may mga cases na hindi pa siya applicable or hindi pa na-release since software is a continuous development, no? So that's why we can send reviews to Microsoft. They actually provide this platform wherein you can actually provide some feedback na they can work on. So it's a continuous development, which is good. And that's why there are patches that are updates that are being provided. So actually those updates are coming from user feedback. Okay, so going back, if you can think about it, that's probably a way to do it. So na-mention ko lang din siya kasi sometimes you think there's no solution already with the problem that we're encountering din sa software development and dashboard, no? But actually there is. You just have to know where to look for it, and you have to ask the right questions to people. Okay, so next. How about now, sir? Sir,
Meron na,
saan ako
meron na.
na-cut? Saan ako
The
na-cut,
moment
sir?
the moment you switch to the slide.
Okay. Sige, sir. So, I was asking the question for the audience, no, just to make this interactive. No? What's the first thing that comes into mind when you hear or when you read the word aviation? I know there's a lot of words na, no? Pero maybe there are other common words that you could think of. Can anyone?
And you can answer in chat kung super shy kayo.
Yeah,
Kasi
actually.
ganun last week eh. Oh, walang gusto, walang gusto mag-open ng mic. Pero nagta-type
Yeah.
naman sila.
Mhm.
So
Actually,
sorry,
sir,
ano ulit yung
that's
tanong? What do you think of
what's
first? Or what's the first
what's
thing?
the first word that you can think of when you read or hear the word aviation? I'm just curious. Come on, yeah. You can chat or you can type. Airport. Okay. It's a good one, sir. I think it's not here. No? So, yeah. It's a good answer, sir.
Oo nga.
Okay, anyway, airport. So, yeah, I actually airport. But why am I showing this to you? So, as you would notice, no, meron tayo ditong word na data. Can you see the word data here on the screen? Yeah, it's actually maybe I can
No.
use a pointer. It's here below.
Ay, was.
Sa engine. Okay, so that's where we will be focusing on in the discussion since we're talking about data analytics and oh, for a while na. Sir, for a while.
All right,
Sorry.
surely, surely. So, habang wala si Mark. Pero yeah, feel free to type. Kala ko nga ako yung hindi nakakarinig eh. So, nakapag-type naman kayo ng no audio, sir. So, feel free to chat around.
Okay, I'm back. Can you see my screen, sir?
We still can.
Okay. So again, going back, we are to talk about data here. So we will be talking how can we play on data and how we can extract useful information from this data that we can gather. Okay, so next, moving forward, aviation practices. So you said, sir, no, it's an airport. Yes, actually, it's an airport. And most probably, some of you, siguro nahihiya lang, most probably you would say traveling from one point to another, aircraft, airplanes. So technically speaking, aviation is an ecology of processes. There's a lot of things going on. It's more than just transporting people. Okay, there's time management. So these are just the applications that you could probably realize no, as we go along with this discussion. There's time management, inventory keeping, there's timekeeping, fuel management, payroll, on-time performance tracking, ground time monitoring, schedule reliability, real-time updates for maintenance. So there's a lot of things that are going on. And what do you think is the commonality between these words and phrases? Okay, it's actually what we mentioned a while ago. It's data. So normally, we are in a traditional way of doing things. We are keeping track of this information by how we write them on paper. We use the Excel. If we're coming on a digital, perhaps a more digital way of doing things, we use Excel. So, but primarily before we use the pen and paper method. And as we go along with the developments of technology, no, we are able to come up with more innovative ways of making things more efficient, making things more adaptable, and making um, promoting save time as we go through these processes. Hence, there's a phrase here that I just realized that what we are actually doing if we are able to harness the power of Microsoft Power Platform. We're actually becoming agents of digital transformation. Okay, and that's what I would like you to get as we go along and as you move forward after this session. Realizing that there's so much potential with this tool, this technology, there's a lot of digital transformations that you can apply to your company. Okay, these things that I'm going to share with you, these are just the transformations that are ongoing and that are soon to be developed as we move along during our operations in the company. Okay, so from this picture, again, just want to highlight, no, normally, ang nakikita lang natin yung nasa gitna eh, or naiisip natin kasi we want to travel, right? But I hope, no, once we finish having this session, you will soon realize na there's a lot of things going on pala. May checking in, merong baggage handling, may passenger boarding. All of these things we are actually measuring. Hindi nyo lang siya nakikita. Pero on the back end of things, we are actually measuring these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to know if how are we if how are we performing as a company and how we can improve our services better. Okay, so that's the main point of measuring these things. We're not just measuring things out because we want to do it, just out of tradition or a practice. There are things that are being useful because of this one. Camera. Okay. Maybe, sir, I should reset my camera.
Ay, hindi. It's showing up now. Okay na ulit. Okay na ulit.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so moving forward, so that's it. That's just the point of this figure. The airport process broken down in stages. So the next time you travel, no, maybe probably things would change on your end because of
Yeah.
this sharing. So yeah, that's how we primarily utilize this tool uh, in the aviation industry. We measure things for the sake of having insights and improving our services better here at Philippine Airlines. Okay, so next. So the power platform in aviation. So we will now proceed with what are some of the applications that we were able to develop during our stint here at Philippine Airlines. So we were able to utilize a Microsoft Power Platform with by coming up with an app launcher. So app launcher, I'll just provide a very quick gist on how these things operate. But later on, we will be focusing on the flight activity report. Okay, and we will proceed with the demonstration. Okay, so we have the app launcher. So app launcher primarily, um, it's used to have an integrated platform. So we are developing so much applications, right? So it would be tedious if you would still go to the Power Apps launch page, then we will have to click it one by one. So later on, I will show you. This is an integrating platform. Okay, so the next thing, training tracker, we utilize the Power Platform to show or to see those trainings that are about to expire. So we send notifications na for let's say 2 months before mag-expire yung training, we are already notified. Hence, we can also tell that agent na, hey, you have an expiring training. You should take this next week. Okay? For a while, sir, a minute, please. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Feeling ko may delay yung chat ko. Kanina ko ba sinabi yung is Mark's camera turned off eh. Weird. Hindi yata kinakaya ng wifi ko. Yung dami ng naka-open na streaming apps. Again, thank you everyone for joining. I see Dane hopping on, Arman. Thanks. I think Mark is back on. Are you? Are you back?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Again. Hi again.
So sorry na medyo, actually I'm sick right now, but
Oh,
not timing yan eh. Yeah,
nako. Oh. Thank you
not
for
timing
pushing
yan.
through. The show must
It's
go
okay.
on. Oh.
Yeah, very last minute siya eh, kanina lang umaga. So yeah, it's okay.
Sakto.
Everything is fine. Yeah. Okay, so moving forward, I think I stopped at the training tracker now. So yeah, we
Correct.
utilize the Power Platform to have a platform where they encode the taken trainings and at the same time notify the management if the training is about to expire. So yeah, it makes things manageable. You don't have to check the traditional records na there's a high chance of missing things out. Okay, so that's one application. Station status updates. This tool we are deploying this tool to all stations across the Philippines. Okay, but later on we will be extending it to international stations for palace servicing. So basically, this is just a platform wherein airport officers have to encode what are updates from their stations. If there are things that are for repair, if there are disruptions on their end, they can encode it here. And immediately we have a dashboard where we can visibly see how things are going to their respective stations without even asking them, which is the traditional way of doing things. Like ground equipment monitoring, basically you just have to you just have a platform how many ground equipments are in the outstations that are available, and if there's an aircraft going to Cebu, we would immediately know if there's a the ground unit available for utilization, for example. Aircraft cleanliness, before we operate the aircraft, we have a certain checklist. So we will know as time goes by, meron ba tayong na-miss or there are uncompliant items in the list. And we can actually backtrack how many occurrences did we have over time. So that's aircraft cleanliness monitoring. Ground handling compliance. Again, we have providers na we would like to monitor if they are performing within the standard. So aircraft status, we want to know the status of the maintenance of an aircraft. If it's already up, how many days will it take for our mechanics to repair the aircraft? So it's a platform, it's an integrated platform that provides a real-time update to the management and to the stakeholders that are needed to be informed. Okay, malapit na tayo. We just have 4 before flight activity. So aircraft status, as you can see now, we're just on the high level. So I think if you have questions, just ask those questions. But primarily, I want you to have an idea, a high-level idea on how are you able to deploy this platform on your end in your corporate setup. Okay, manpower deployment monitoring. There are agreements, for example, na this company would provide me 100 people for in a daily basis. But in actual, we are being given only 80 people. So that 100 people confines itself with a corresponding cost. So if you can observe through data analytics na over time or in a weekly basis, you are lacking 20% of the promised figures, you can immediately have a reference na, okay, we will be paying you less because you're not meeting the requirements of the company. Okay, so that's out. And normally, imagine we don't have this platform now where you can have visibility on these things. It's just easy to overlook. Na they can immediately say na, we provided 100 people on average last week. But that's just it. We don't have any reference for that. Or if we have certain references, a paper which can be tampered or what, it's actually a big no, right? So if we have this platform, the Microsoft Power Platform, we can maintain data integrity, okay, and then we can show them proof that we have collected data, and you can actually show or see if this data were edited a day before or what. Okay, so catering services, monitoring, we have also this platform wherein we are able to monitor how much of the deployed food or snacks in the company went to waste. Okay, so hence we can calculate the cost. We can make things efficient na on an average level of, let's say, in a daily basis, based on the projected number of flights, we need to deploy 200 snacks per flight. But based on observation, based on data analysis, nakikita natin na nakakonsume lang by average is 180 lang on a daily. So we can cater the trend based on the trend. We can adjust the daily deployed snacks for each flight. Okay, that's just an idea and it's just a tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot more that can be utilized here for catering services. So next item for flight disruptions monitoring naman, if there are flight cancellations, okay, so we can have visibility how much cash was disbursed from the company. We have monitoring of how many passengers were affected, how many luggages were misrouted, or um, how many baggages had irregularities. So we also have a tool for that. For the first bag out, most probably you don't notice this now because this happens in the back end. We're actually measuring the first bag that is being extracted from the aircraft. So we get those timings. The first bag out, and the last bag out. So ideally, we have a target. So this amount of time, once the aircraft ports in the Bay Area, there's let's say a leeway. For example, 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes, we need to unload all luggages. Okay. See, so there's so much happening on the back end, and it entails data. And on our end, as data analysts and developers, it's our role. How are we going to capture it, and how are we going to process them? Okay. So yeah, for the last item, we have the flight activity report. So this is where we will be delving so much, and we will utilize or we will see how it looks on the front end and the back end. Okay. Next slide. Oh, I forgot the figure on the right. So here, this is just a high-level explanation on how things are operating. So we have here the Microsoft Power Apps on the left side. We have we deploy this Microsoft Power Apps as the tools for encoding data into SharePoint database. And from the SharePoint database, we have the Microsoft Power BI. We extract data from the database and we process them based on the information on how things must be displayed based from user demand. And for this stupid UC, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to correct this one, but this is Microsoft Power Automate. So
Mm.
Microsoft Power Automate, these are happening on the back end. We have applications or flows, we call them flows, connected to these three things. Okay, so later on, we'll give you some examples on how powerful this platform is. Okay, next slide. Sorry, maybe you're hearing me sneeze, no? I have pulses. So sorry. Anyway, so for the
No
flight
problem.
activity report, yeah, so for the flight activity report, from true to its name, we are measuring those activities that are happening from the moment an aircraft arrives at the gate and from the time up to the time aircraft is ready for departure. Okay? Maybe I'll just turn off my camera,
Sure,
no?
sure,
I
sure.
just explain it. Anyways, okay. So this is what we call the turnaround process. So in this turnaround process, there's a lot of things going on. Okay, we have the baggage unloading, disembarking, refueling, cleaning, boarding, baggage loading, and the security checks. And there's a lot more. But these are just some. Then I will show you what are the others that are being measured later on. So that's basically the function, the primary function of the flight activity report. Okay, so moving to the next slide. To explain, this is the framework, the FAR framework. Okay, we have the PDC Flight Ops. This is a software where we extract flight schedules. So to PGOC, it's an administrative office. Basically, this is the brain of the operations. So they do the flight list loading. Okay, so this is where Power Automate happens. They just paste data from Excel, and then we have a flow that runs and loads this data to the SharePoint database at 12 midnight. Okay, so from there, dito ngayon papasok si Microsoft Power Apps. Okay, so we have airport personnel spread across the Philippines and across the globe. They utilize Microsoft Power Apps to capture these ground timings. And from this ground timings, it will be inputted towards the database. And this information will be processed by Power BI for analysis. Okay, then at the same time, there's an administrator or the station control that is able to override Microsoft Power Apps data na ini-input ng mga airport officers natin. Okay? So that basically this is how it works. Power Apps encoding for encoding of data, Power BI for extracting and processing this data, and Power Automate for automating process in the backend. So the tedious manual tasks, we can delegate them to Microsoft Power Automate.
And ano yung mga cases when the admin needs to overwrite Power Apps? Pag may mga maling entry ba yon?
Yeah, yes sir. Pag may mga based from viewing of the dashboard, there are erroneous data. For example, simple as 1641. So 4:41 in the afternoon, the user inputted 1642. So we have to change it. So para hindi na natin sila i-message because it takes time, they can already have access to the platform to change the data. Okay,
And
so
so
yeah.
before this, yung manual method is as in lahat yan Excel. Tama ba?
Excel. Yes,
Oo.
sir, correct. They use Excel file. And sometimes, I think, i-experience this also before, no? Pag sobrang dami na ng rows nyo, sobrang naglalag na yung system.
Oo.
So, we needed to veer away from that platform. So, we have a much more powerful platform, just this one.
And yung SharePoint
Uh,
database dyan, is that a CSV file inside SharePoint? Ganun ba yung nangyari?
yes, sir. It's a CSV file.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, we are able to process it at a faster rate since may ano na tayo, other tools
Correct.
aside from Excel. Okay, so that's how this tool operates. So next slide. So imagine, let's go to the demonstration. So imagine this tool. just for additional information, no? Our users have their mobile phones from different stations that pala servicing us. For us, Los Angeles, Dubai, Japan, Australia, name it. As long as they have the account for Microsoft, they are able to input information. Okay, so I will just transfer my screen dun sa Power Apps platform natin and Power BI. So again, guys, now we were just on a high level because we want you just to have use cases that can be applicable to your company as well. Okay, so let me share my screen again. So a while ago, I told you na meron tayong apps launcher, no? So this is our apps launcher. Can you confirm if my screen is visible?
Other folks, medyo may delay sa akin eh. Pero sa dami ng mga streaming ko. Pero other folks, can you confirm? Sa ngayon, I'm seeing that it's trying to share. Meron na daw. Amy Faith confirmed.
Okay,
Thanks guys,
so
Ulysses, thanks.
all right, thank you. So this is our integrated platform. So we were able to come up with a dashboard na basically a platform na summarizes all the Power Apps application and dashboards na we created before. So there are corresponding buttons here na naka-deep link sila based from the configuration. So we categorize our projects into three. This one, the day of ops, plus factor, KMS. So yeah, so basically it's an integrating platform. Now when you click a certain button, it will deep link to a certain application and a certain dashboard. So for based on discussion now, we will be having the discussion with the FAR. So FAR, this is how it looks. Once you click the encoder application here, you will be directed to this page. This is the home screen. Okay? So you will be asked for your role. Okay, so the role will dictate what can you see moving forward. So say for example, we are inputting actually by the way, I already provided you some test data, no? So we can play with it and we have visibility on, so hindi na tayo mag-i-input pa ng data anymore. So let's say we are capturing Siargao Airport data. So dito siya. Na siya sa window na to, you will see certain flights na airport officers should work on. So in a day, they need to input data for these flights. Since ang goal nga natin on the main office, we would like to have visibility on how things are going without even asking anymore. So this is where they add the platform. So here we have here the input for the arrival and departure flights. We can add flight here, but in this case, we already have flights, so we don't need to add anymore. So if, for example, users needed to, there's a flight na hindi nila nakikita dito sa platform, they could send a request. So this add flight request, and we will be able to receive this request dun sa Teams chat natin. So later ipapakita ko sa inyo. Okay, so these are the flights. We can filter them accordingly if there's a lot of flights that you can see here. Say Manila, so madami. So para to make things easier, you can actually type the flight number in this field. Okay, so that's how it works. So apart from that, we also have here at the bottom the send an email to the team for concerns and questions. Say for example, you are the user of this application. No? You want to notify the developer if there are concerns na na-experience mo, you want to ask for help, there's a feature here that you can type. And once you send this explanation here, the subject, it will automatically be sent through your email. You can also configure it to be sent through Teams chat. So madali yung flow information natin. Also, app review is also available. So if you want to rate your applications in a corporate basis, you can do it here. User review. Okay, so next. So for example, you have chosen a certain flight, no? These are the information that you can actually gather. So gate area ng aircraft, the bay, the terminal, the baggage, the cargo, pax load or the manpower deployed for that flight, you can actually input them here. And for the main part of this app, move forward, the flight activities. This is where now we capture all information relevant to the flight. Okay, we want to capture the positioning of the bridge, anong oras nag-disembark yung pasahero, anong oras nag-customs check, and many other things. The flight deck crew, anong oras dumating sa airport, anong oras dumating yung flight deck, yung catering services natin. So all these things we are able to measure. Okay, so on our end as developers, it's up to us how are we going to configure this and make this useful later on for the side of data analytics. Okay, we can implement here data validations based on how are you able to process them properly on the back end using Power BI. Okay, so basically that's just it. Once we are able to capture the data, we can also input delay codes here, and once you are done with inputting of the data, you can already send the flight report. So once you click this one, there's a summary of reports or data that will be sent through email and Teams chat. Okay, so basically that's how Power Apps operate. And so going back, this data will then be connected to doon sa monitoring tool natin. So we have it here. Yeah, so June 1 flights, we have a summary. So from a management level, we already know what are the timings that are anong oras nangyari yung boarding ng eroplano. And this dashboard, this tool refreshes every 30 seconds. Okay, so we have set a refresh rate para kung ano man yung set of information na na-capture from all airports across the Philippines and the globe, maglo-load siya dito and you will be able to see them. So on our end, for example, I'm the management level, I'm in a coffee shop, pwede kong manang malaman anong oras nag-take off yung aeroplano na to. If may binabantayan akong flight, I will be notified immediately. And filters are available, which you can configure later on. Okay, so right after capturing information, the next thing that we would like to know is how are we going to process this information? And I think this is the most important part of it, of these things. So we have now the Power BI over here. So you can see now, masyadong I had to load so much data na I needed to tawag dito. I needed to input realistic data, not just input random numbers here. Anyway, so going back, this is our flight. These are our flights for June 1. So what we can have here, we can have visibility on how many flights we were able to cater for that day. Okay, and in terms of the completion of FARs, where ideally we need to complete 203 FARs, since there are 203 loaded, we need to complete 200 as well. So as you can see, makikita natin yung mga stations na hindi nagko-comply and ano yung compliance rate natin for the day. So in this case, it's 58%. And we can also see ano yung average performance natin sa company. From the time na dumating yung aeroplano, which is the on blocks, up to nagsara yung pintuan, ano yung average value niyan. So if we are aiming for a target of 40 minutes, we can clearly see now na meron tayong 67 minutes. There's something that we need to look at. Ano bang problem natin? Okay, so on a management level, nakikita natin yung performance natin, and hence, we can look at stations na nag-underperform. Okay? So yeah, so we have here the air compliance rate. We have here the on blocks and closed doors performance of each station, and the performance of each station in terms of delay. So the green ones are the on-time ones, the yellow ones are within the tolerance of 15 minutes, and the red ones, of course, are the delayed. Purple ones are the canceled flights. Okay, another thing, we have the flight list. If you want to delve in ano ba yung mga flights na yun, we have another one here. Like this page, this summarizes all the flights that transpired during that day. Okay, then the delay monitoring, we can actually tally ano ba yung mga delay natin, may mga categories yan. So on your end, actually in a corporate setting, maybe you have some metrics that you can monitor on your end. Now, if you want to categorize, you can use the Pareto charts here, the this chart over here, that you can that would categorize in our case the delays of for each day. Okay, and last thing, we have the compliance monitor. If we want to let the stations know ano ba yung mga kulang nila, so we can immediately see and we can immediately track ano ba yung mga araw na kailangan nila balikan. So for example, we have here Puerto Princesa. So last July 1, in this test data, di meron silang kulang noong June 1. Katiklan, 78%. So basically, the red ones, they need to backtrack. So in an operations level, if you are aiming for 100% of the end of the year, you can have visibility kasi of all this data that we are inputting, it's a very tedious task, no? If we don't have the tool to monitor this performance, hence the Power BI, it would be, it's not impossible, but it's very tedious.
Yung
So that's
compliance ng
how,
Manila, sumuko na lang eh. Ayaw na.
yes,
Sa
yeah,
again test data. Pero
yes, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so going back to my slides, where is it? Here. Okay, so demonstration. We're done with the demonstration. Now, with the back-end processes, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na there are notifications that are sent through Teams chat or through email. Okay, so through that FAR app, through Power Apps, automatically information with instantaneously be sent through Teams chat, and hence stakeholders would immediately know the relevant data to those concerned flights. Okay, so these are just some of the notifications that are being sent through email and Teams chat. Okay, so it's possible. It's possible to send a screenshot of your report in Power BI and have it sent to your email. It's possible with a click of a button in Power Apps, you can send information which is coded in Power Automate yung template niya. Okay, and you can send email from Power Apps with this through HTML coding. Okay, so next, we're almost done. FAR functionality. So this is just a summary of what a single tool can do. So imagine having a single tool with so much features. Imagine mirroring this capability to some other apps that you could think of. The potential actually is almost, I would say, not limitless, but it's full of potential. And there's a lot of things that we can do only if we have the time to imagine things out and ask people around if there are gaps that we need to address. Okay, so the highlighted the white text here shows you the features of the Power Apps. The yellow ones are the features of the Power BI for data analysis. Okay, so there's so much things that we can do with this tool and this photo. There's no way but to move forward. Na? You ask questions if you have to. Don't feel shy and don't feel threatened if um, some people kasi sir na-notice ko and based on experience na there's a lot of opportunities na they could ask something but they cannot because they're shy or what.
correct.
Okay, so
Wag
okay,
shy,
so
guys.
yes. And the last thing, I think this is the way to do things, no? Once you learn from people around you, you pay it forward by sharing what you know, because you never know how helpful your information shared will be to those people. Okay, so again, Sir Anthony, thank you for this platform. I think you're doing a good job na for promoting what Microsoft can do and how can we transform processes in a corporate level. Okay, so I think that's all on my end. Thank you, guys, for listening. Thank you again.
Thank
Mabuhay.
thank you, Mark. And last round, do we have any questions from anyone in the call? 24 kayo So sabihin natin 22 without me and Mark nga pala. So we have 22 folks on the Teams meeting. Anyone has any questions? May quiz tayo
Yeah.
after And,
Ako may question lang
yan,
ako.
Rico, go.
Doon sa sa Power Apps, doon sa inputting, curious lang ako bakit naka-mobile view instead of tablet. May specific reason ba?
Okay, yeah. Actually, yung users kasi natin, they are airport officers. They walk around the airports eh. So
Okay.
it has to be compatible with their mobile device. Yeah,
Okay. Thank
that's
you.
the reason. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other
Ako po may
questions?
tanong regarding sa data refresh ng Power BI.
Mhm.
Since parang real time po ito, no? Paano po yung refresh ng Power BI app since meron din po tayong what do you call this? Yung
May
pag-correct ng
limitation.
data. Kung ano po yung schedule, is it a schedule refresh or
Yeah.
may possibility na every time na mag-load ng data is magre-refresh yung Power BI?
Okay, good question, no? Actually, that's a problem that I had before. So before, our company, wala pa kaming premium capacity subscription. So may limitation siya na kapag nag-device ako ng di ba pwede mo siyang iset yung refresh rate sa Power BI. Kapag you're a free
Yes.
user or a pro user, I think you can just refresh 8 times a day.
Correct.
After that, magle-limitation na. So what I did before, I use Power Automate Flow nung nag-subscribe kami sa premium per user. So actually based from the review, pag premium per user ka, 48 times lang pwede in a day. But for some reason, nag-push through siya. So I set it to Power Automate to refresh the dataset per hour. So that's 24 hours per day. So pasok naman siya sa limitation. Okay, so to correct, hindi siya actually real time. So may delay tayo na every 1 hour siya nagre-refresh. Okay, so yeah. So ngayon, nung nagkaroon kami ng subscription sa premium capacity, so it's an organization-wide subscription, mas capable na tayong mag-refresh at faster rate. I think I haven't tried the 30 minutes, but I think with that
Pwede.
subscription, you can actually up to a minute ata pwede before. But before, nung konti pa yung data, I was able to do it every minute. But nung dumadami na yung data, medyo matagal na siya mag-refresh. So yeah, to answer your question, I utilize Power Automate and a scheduled Power Automate flow to refresh the dataset. And it happens to all databases that we have. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Salamat sa mga tanong. And to add dun so pag naka-Power Automate ka, you are outside that limitation. Yung 8 times a day for free users, tsaka yung 48 times a day. Kasi sa scheduled refresh applicable yun eh. Power Automate does not use the scheduled refresh. So, only yun. Siyempre, and automatic yun. Kunwari, refresh is ongoing. Tapos, sinet mo yung Power Automate mo na magre-refresh siya when it detects a change in the CSV in SharePoint. Matic yun, hindi niya itutuloy kasi may ongoing refresh. Pero, makaka-receive ka ng error na your automate failed, blah, 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 blah. Tapos, hindi mo alam bakit kasi nga may ongoing refresh. Yun lang yung medyo slight downside for devs. Pero, pwede. Only yun ang mangyari.
I think, sir,
Hindi siya mag-queue.
Hindi siya mag-queue.
Di ba, kunyari,
Mag-error siya.
oo, hindi siya mag-queue. Repeat na kagad siya.
Oo.
Okay.
Kasi mabablock. Ay, go, Mark.
To add lang, sir, no, na-experience ko yan before. Since nung lumalaki na yung data, I think yung average refresh rate to be successful, mga 4 minutes. So ngayon, nung nag-refresh ako every 2 minutes, so technically mag-overlap siya, no?
Correct.
So, ang nagiging problem ko yung error na sinasabi niya, sir, is the throttle action limit. So, napupuno siya. Yeah. So, just to add lang sa sinabi niya, sir.
Correct, yan.
So, sir, sorry, additional question, no?
Sure.
So, if in case na may same use case ako, so, hindi ibig sabihin, it's not recommended to have the trigger na every time na may maglo-load na new data is magre-refresh ka.
Yeah.
So, talagang recommended na parang may
Yes.
Schedule.
may gap. Oo.
Oo.
Yeah.
Ay, depende
That's what-
gaano kadalas yung update ng data nyo. Kay Mark kasi syempre intense eh. Pwedeng
Yes.
next minute, di ba, meron.
Simultaneous.
Simultaneous talaga. So, Rhea, depende sa'yo. Gaano ba kadalas?
Okay. Sige po. Thank you.
Yeah. Kasi on my case, nagagamit ko yun yung trigger na when a CSV file or when a file in SharePoint is modified. Pero ang refresh ng mga tao doon, tipong once a week. Kasi may talagang parang admin na babaguhin niya yung worksheet. Minsan hindi niya, or most of the time, sinasabihan ko rin siya na wag mo babaguhin one cell at a time Do it somewhere else and then copy-paste, overwrite mo lang yung nasa SharePoint. That way, yun na. Magti-trigger na yung Power Automate ko doon. Pwede ko rin namang lagyan ng delay, di ba? Si Power Automate na parang 20 minutes, siguro naman tapos ka na mag-edit. Pero doon lang magkikick yung refresh. And supposedly, hopefully, once nag-kick off yung refresh, wala na siyang further edits. Kasi pag nag-edit siya habang nagre-refresh, yon, pwedeng may ma-miss yung refresh habang ginagawa niya yung file. Pero yeah, good question, Rhea. Thank you. My question from Darwin, do you have any other cloud database kung sakaling may day na magda-down ang Microsoft? May backup dataset ka nga daw ba? Or CSV SharePoint lang?
Actually, to be honest, we just have SharePoint. Yeah. But what I do in a daily basis, nagda-download ako ng yung database for the day. Yeah.
May daily backup, kumbaga.
Yes, yeah.
Kumbaga, medyo ano nga lang talaga, Microsoft take the wheel.
Yeah. Yes.
Pero, and then, Alan asks, yung sa Power BI po, yan rin po ba yung incremental refresh? Ano po yung pinagkaiba ng Premium at Pro? Hindi siya incremental, iba pa yung incremental. So, kay Mark is triggered ng Power Automate. Incremental refresh naman is pag super duper, kasi 4 minutes lang si Mark wala yon sa incremental refresh. Ang incremental refresh, you start to want to use that pag tipong mga 1 hour na nagre-refresh yung dataset mo. O kahit half hour, ganon. Impatient tayo. May mga datasets ako dati na 3 hours bago matapos yung refresh. Yung kumbaga years of data, tapos detailed sobra. Lahat ng kumain sa Jollibee in 2 years. Ganyan, isipin nyo, gano'ng karami yon. So, pag umabot na sa ganon, ang ginagawa ni incremental refresh is, meron akong 2 years worth of data. Nang kumain nga sa Jollibee, kunwari. Tapos today, may mga kumain ulit na ilang libo o milyong tao sa Jollibee. Milyon malamang for the day. I-refresh niya yung milyong katao for the day lang. Hindi niya uulitin yung refresh ng mga 2022 data. Pero at the same time, when I look at my report, kita ko pa rin sina 2022. So kumbaga i-refresh lang niya incrementally yung bagong data. So may mga rules na isa-set ka doon. And ano yung pinag-iba ng Premium at Pro? Pro is pretty much parang siya na yung semi-free Siya yung pinaka-lowest tier. Pag Pro license lang meron ka, hindi ka pwedeng mag-publish na makikita ng madlang people ng organization nyo. Dapat lahat kayo naka-Pro, even for them to view the report. Pag Premium Workspace kayo, or Premium Workspace pa na sa isip ko, pag Premium Workspace ka, you have that power na isa lang yung Pro, pa-publish niya, kita na ng buong organization. Premium per user naman, yung PPU naman na plan, meron kang other features like, I think incremental refresh is premium pa rin. Dati, deployment pipelines is premium lang, pero na-deploy na into the general public Pro population. So, may mga features ka na hindi magagamit and makikita mo yung mga warnings as you use it na, ay, pang premium lang to, mga ganon, disabled. Kasama yata yung large dataset setting, hindi ko na rin sure. Pero may mga features I'm sorry, hindi na ako ganun ka-update. Pero, Google is your friend, just in case. Pero yun, certain features yung mawawala. And I think recommended for real-time data is streaming dataset approach. Yeah, streaming. Mas maganda nga sana, Mark, hindi naka-SQL kayo. Kaya mong mag-direct query, mga ganong tipo. So, always live. Kumbaga, walang yan. Walang refresh na ginagawa. Kasi ang refresh, nangyayari lang yan sa import database, di ba? Pero, hindi ko rin alam actually paano mag-setup nun Kasi kailangan mo ng SQL Server. So, may ibang gastusin para mag-setup nun. Kahit cloud-based. Pero yeah, that would be optimal siguro na di ba? Mala Gmail or mala email mo na once may pumasok, kita mo kaagad. Hindi yung mag-hit ka pa ng refresh para makita mo yung mga most recent emails. Or in this case, most recent flight information. Thank you for the questions. Any other questions from anyone? And sorry, Mark, baka may gusto kang sabihin. Sabihin mo lang if I'm talking over.
No, it's okay, sir. I'm actually done. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, then. All right. So, and add ko lang so, nadaanan ni Mark lahat Actually, complete suite ng Power Platform. Pero, si Power BI, as of mga a month ago yata, or 2 months ago, yon itinakwil na siya ng Power Platform Group. Nasa Fabric Group na. si Power BI. Kaya tayo nasa Fabric community. So, ano lang naman, kung wala naman difference as far as usage, you can still use Power BI, partnered with apps, partnered with Automate. Ang difference lang is, pag magsa-search kayo sa communities, mapapansin nyo na hindi na community.powerplatform.microsoft, community.fabric.microsoft na tayo. And most likely, succeeding communications ng Microsoft yon, more and more Fabric yung makikita nyo and less about Power Platform if you're researching about Power BI. Kasi nga, yun, outside na siya ng Power Platform group. Ang katropa na niya sina Azure, Synapse, mga ganun na. Nandun na siya nilagay. And, ayun, again, thank you very much, Mark. Ang ganda. Ang ganda ng presentation about, and this is all, take note, low code/no code yan. So, hindi mo kailangan ng mga hardcore na developers to build that out. It was a beautiful, by the way, beautiful app yung nagawa nyo sa mobile phone. Super useful. At the same time, yung report, not the most aesthetic report, to be honest, that I've seen. Pero, yung usefulness, kitang-kita ko. Yung heat map na green and red talaga. Kumbaga, yung mga cards na nasa taas. If manager ka sa PAL and you're about ground ops, sobrang laking use ng mga card na yun na in one glance from like 6 feet away from your monitor, kita mo na kung meron kang kailangang aksyonan. So, which is the power, the real use, diba? The real reason why we build dashboards. One note though is, ang special kay Mark is nasa loob siya ng business. Alam na alam niya. So, take note guys about what Mark presented, how he presented it. It's not just a presentation from someone who knows Power BI as a tool. It's a presentation from someone who knows the business. Ano yung mga metrics, ano yung mga business processes behind it, ano yung practicality ng lahat. Bakit kailangang magtipid ng peanuts sa catering at ano yung benefits nun. Yung mga ganon. So, hindi pa tayo umaabot sa dollar value pero kumbaga you might sense na doon tayo pwedeng kumonek at some point. And when you're presenting to higher level people, your C-levels, yung mga exec directors, people, that's something that will catch their attention easily. So, love it. May question si Den C. Hello, I have a question. Paano yung data maintenance? Ayun, Mark, para sa'yo to. Paano daw yung data maintenance, lalo na nung bago pa sila mag-premium capacity? Since ang daming data, paano na-delete yung old data?
Actually, since bago lang yung newly deployed lang kasi ito so in terms of row, hindi pa naman kami nag-delete ng data. So as far as things are concerned here, when I started developing applications, wala pa kami dun sa phase na we had to delete data. So all those data from almost more than 1.5 years ago, andun pa din siya. And I almost forgot to mention, we have the data warehouse, which hindi ako yung nagmamanage, but we are able to connect with our data warehouse.
Ayun pala. So, napag-isipan na, napaghandaan na.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Oo nga pala. Nawala yung teams ko. Yeah? Dens? Good? Don't hesitate to ask follow-up questions. I know we're over, pero ganito rin naman nangyari last week di ba? So, so tuloy lang natin. Hanggang 11:30 tayo. Word cloud. Kanina sa unang-unang slide or isa sa mga first few slides ni Mark, meron siyang word cloud ng airplane. So, fun fact, you can do word clouds in Power BI. And there are at least two word cloud visualizations in Power BI. Isa na to. Ito yung medyo bago, word cloud by Power Viz. Word cloud by Power Viz, ano yung special sa kanya? You can word cloud inside shapes. So, may mga ganyan ka. Gusto mo ng pusa na may word cloud sa loob tungkol sa airplane? Why not? Yung isa naman is yung more traditional na word cloud. I forgot. Pero again, you can just search for word cloud. Tapos lalabas yung normal na oblong o oval na word cloud. Ganun lang yung lalabas sa kanya. Pero yun, so, fun fact. Yeah, I'm guessing Den is okay. So, meron pa ba akong gustong sabihin? Ayun lang, actually. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. I'll
Welcome, sir.
I'll upload everything. Yan nga, hininto ko na yung recording ng Teams kasi meron naman akong redundancy with OBS. And si OBS Studio naman ginagamit ko. Thank you to everyone who joined. Do we have any other questions? By the way, not just for Marka, does anyone in the call have any other questions relating to Power BI? This is your floor. Kaya tayo may DAXdakan. Going once? Feel free to unmute or drop in chat or raise your hand. Good na daw si Den. Thank you very much for the question, Den. All right, going once, going twice. All right. That ends DAXdakan episode 2. Thank you very much. Teka, sorry, balik ako sa slides ko. Meron pa pala akong laman. Ayan, maraming salamat. Pero meron pa yan. Connect with us. As I've said, last week pa, yun nga, if you are part of our Facebook group, yay, thank you. But we have other social media channels. Yung isa nga na pinupush is yung Power Platform. Sorry, nagkamali na ako. Yung Fabric community natin, para matalo yung South India. Yan. So, please join our other social media channels. That costs nothing if you are on those. If you're on Discord, why not join us in Discord for fun lang para may extra kayong badge. If you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube, you listen to Spotify podcasts, yeah, hook up with us. Why not? We appreciate it. Kasi yun nga, kung nasaan yung audience, of course that also tells us, the moderators and myself, kung saan kami dapat mag-focus. So the Spotify podcasting is purely experimental pero minimal effort kasi, di ba? I have the YouTube na. So why not throw it out there? Yung TikTok yung medyo napag-iiwanan ko. Sorry, although medyo maraming potential nga si TikTok. So I'll try to hop onto that again once medyo nag-stabilize yung mga ginagawa ko tuwing weekend. And last but not the least, may survey na tayo. Yay! I'll be launching surveys every week kasi tulad ng napaka-cute na survey link ni Mark doon sa Power App nila, which is a really great idea. So, yun. We want to be better based on episode 1. Based on episode 2, I feel that DAXdakan is something that we will be running regularly na talaga. So, every other week, meron tayong ganito. Kahit walang presenter, mag-open up lang to questions, ganun. Maybe a quick update about Power BI, mga ganun. So, I feel that it's a good venue, but we want to know more. What did you like? What did you not like? It's actually a survey with one single question. Kasi babasahin ko rin naman isa-isa. So it's very, very open. Mala Shopee lang yung question ko. As in 1 to 5 stars and why. So please, if you have the time, fill it out. Gives us a sense of where we need to improve on. Asan yung pulso. So, answer of course, kung ano yung subjectively feel nyo na, mas gusto ko more Mark. Mas gusto ko more Tony, whatever. Gusto ko yung question and answer portion. Gusto ko yung more time to unmute ourselves, whatever. So, yeah, feel free to tell us about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I believe last slide ko na talaga yan, promise. Yeah, last na. Wala nang nagda-down. Okay. So, yeah. Again, thank you very much. This has been Tony. That was Mark. We are part of DAXdakan episode 2. And everyone, have a happy weekend ahead. Bye.
Right. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thanks, guys.